What's up, guys? Welcome back to Cool Fred's Garage. So today I'm still working over here on the 1978 Malibu Classic. So I've been doing some work on the brake system on this car. So I'll show you guys what I've been doing to it. So pretty much this is going to be part two. This is going to be the part two video of me working on the brake system. So I'm working on getting this car almost buttoned up so we can get it fired up. Got a few miscellaneous things, but I wanted to get this brake stuff out of the way first. So you see the new brake booster is sitting in there. Pretty much what I had to do, we had an issue with a couple of the brake lines being too close to the header. So I relocated some of those brake lines. So I basically made some new custom lines using the factory line as a guide, and basically I used a coat hanger to kind of modify the extra that I needed and kind of transfer it over to making new brake holes out of our line. The brake line was a part of this roll here, which is like a 25-foot roll that we got from inline tube, and it comes with all the fittings and stuff like that. Show you guys a little recap of some of the stuff I was doing in the last video. So this right here is the brake line on the driver's side. It wasn't as close as the one on the passenger side, but I decided to reroute it just a little bit, so to get it out of the path of the header. And then the other one, which if I go under the car real quick, so this is the other brake line right here. So you can see I got the rock guard on it and also this little heat wrap. So basically the way it went before was kind of like right here, kind of along the frame, and then it kind of went here. But so I just moved it on the other side of here. It's just going around there and up and around kind of the frame, a little bit different, but that header kind of sits here in this area here, so that's kind of out of the way of the header, and you can kind of see how it runs along to the other side. And over here on the passenger side, you can kind of see where the line comes out. So it's pretty much all of it is pretty similar to how it ran from the factory, except for like over on the other side where it's close to that proportion valve. So I also got new flexible rubber lines on here. And the last thing to do is to put in a new master cylinder. So we noticed, like, going down the brake booster, it had a little bit of like corroded rust on the paint on the old one. So sometimes you kind of see, like, if it's corroded or rusty right in there, it's signs that your master cylinder is leaking. So that is definitely what we had going on, because this right here is the old one. And you can kind of see like down there, all that kind of goldish, all that little residue there. So that thing was definitely leaking. So one of the problems I noticed a little after the customer brought the car, dropped it off. So as you guys know, this is the series where I basically did several things. Did a CVF belt drive, did engine swap, and a few other things. Did some work on the AC. But one of the things I noticed is that the brake pedal was spongy. The pedal was going almost to the floor. So that's pretty much what we was trying to fix. So basically I inspected all of the brakes. His brake shoes, calipers, and all that stuff were good. In the back, the drums, the wheel cylinders, and even the flexible line back here in the back of the car, all that stuff is good. So pretty much you just needed to replace some deteriorated brake hoses and master cylinder, the brake booster, and bleed the system. So and also found out that the car had contaminated brake fluid. So it's been leaking and the fluid was contaminated. So that's some of the problems with this car. So the main reason for talking about and addressing the brakes is pretty much safety. Because, you know what I'm saying, it really don't matter how much horsepower you got or what kind of engine you got in your car. If you can't stop it safely, you're really defeating the purpose, you know what I'm saying, just to get out there and run down the road and to crash into something. So we don't want that. And also another thing on those brake lines, like relocating them, because I know a lot of these G bodies are set up very similar, but relocating that brake line, that kind of gives you safety, because when the headers they get hot and at a certain temperature, your brake fluid can boil. So I got a bottle of brake fluid right here. So this right here is compatible with DOT 3 and 4, but it tells you pretty much on the back what the boiling points here, or what the minimum wet boiling point of your brake fluid here. So if you got your brake lines too close to the headers, you can possibly run the risk of boiling the brake fluid. So you can overheat and rupture the line is one thing that can happen to the brake line, and you can get a leak. And another thing can happen is your brakes can get the performance of the fluid can get reduced because it's boiling. And when stuff boils, you know, it can create a short air pocket, and you may not be able to stop on one or two of your wheels. So you could possibly maybe still have some brakes in the back, but you're not going to have all your braking force because of that. So, all right, so now I'm going to get into talking about this master cylinder here. All right, so this is our new master cylinder from AutoZone. It's a Duralast. That's it right there. I'm assuming that's the part number right there. But so I'm gonna get ready to get this thing prepared to get it installed in the car. But before I do that, I gotta do one thing that a lot of people, they either don't know to do, or they don't do it, which is to bench bleed this master cylinder. So what that does is basically make sure that your master cylinder is operational. So I guess the shortest way to put it, if I had to explain it, you basically you could stick a screwdriver or an extension or something in here to press down this valve. Yeah, that's pretty much what the booster has a pin in it that's pressing this down. So that's giving you a brake. So that's basically putting pressure in this thing, is moving valves and stuff in here to create pressure. So what are you doing when you're doing that? You fill this thing with brake fluid, and I'm probably gonna do a quick tech tip on that. So but you fill it up with brake fluid, and basically you pump this thing until you get all the air out of the line. So that's pretty much basically what you do. All right, so today I'm gonna be demonstrating how to bench bleed your master cylinder. So what I got here is a master cylinder bleed kit, but I only have one hose in here. So I guess something happened to one of my hoses, and I only got one hose. So as a substitute, I'm gonna use a vacuum line that I got laying around. So pretty much these kits right here, you can get those from like your local parts store, and they got these fittings in here. So basically, you see what fittings fit your ports here, and you put your fittings in. So I'm gonna put those in and get that set up. And so the next thing you're gonna do, you want to get your reservoir top off of it. So this one right here is new. This is actually a new master cylinder, so it's a little tough coming off, but I'm getting it off. So I got that off, and once you do that, I'm gonna show you guys how to set this up. All right, so once you get your fittings in, sometimes, you know, this is like a universal kit. So you got to go through there and figure out which fittings fit your threads. But I found two of the right ones right there, and they also got these little things in here right here. So what these are gonna do is they're gonna kind of like go in the middle, so you can have a way to secure your hoses. All right, so when it's all said and done, you want something like that. So basically, you got your hoses kind of going, one to the front reservoir, one to the back, and then this little thing in the middle. It's kind of different on this one because this one's not that, this partition here is not that thick, but you know, this right here kind of This little white clip basically goes right here to kind of keep those hoses in the middle. So basically you want the hoses at the lowest point of the reservoir, so the fluid, because basically what's gonna happen as you bleed it out, the fluid is gonna bubble and the air is just gonna escape from the top of the fluid. All right, so another thing you're gonna need a screwdriver or extension or something to press this valve back here in the back of your master cylinder. I got my safety glasses on so no brake fluid pops in my eye. But you get your brake fluid and you pour it in and you're gonna be good to go. All right, so you're just gonna pour your brake fluid in there, a little bit in the front reservoir, then a little bit in the back. And then what you're gonna do, you're gonna take your screwdriver and push that valve. So I kind of got this little cardboard here to keep me from making a big mess. So I got this block of wood that I'm just gonna set in the front there just to kind of balance it out. So with a little bit of force with a screwdriver, I'm gonna press this thing right here in the back. And you can already hear it bubbling. So you're gonna press that 2 or 3 times. So the goal is basically when you hear when you hear less of the air, but you hear the fluid kind of going through these lines here, you know it's bled. And you can kind of start to actually feel the fluid coming in and out of the hoses. And also when you feel a little bit of resistance or pressure here or force there, you know you got it. So this one is almost bled. So I'm just gonna go through the process just for a little bit more. Do it, you know, for another 10, 15 seconds and I should be good to go. So another thing, after you get it bled and you disconnect the hoses, what I like to do, I'll keep these fittings here temporarily, but I just remove the hoses and I put my lid back on. So basically, with fluid already in here and everything, I'm gonna mount it to the booster. So basically, I'm gonna install this in the car just like with the fluid and everything in there. I'm just gonna disconnect the hoses. All right, so I got the new master cylinder and brake booster installed. But I guess if you got a problem, you'll find out right away. So right now I got a problem. So something with my crush washers in this line here on this brake caliper is leaking. So I need to get that straightened out real quick. So I need to double check that crush washer. All right, so I've gotten to the bottom of the leak here. So it turns out one of my crush washers, because I actually I had to flip this hose around. I had it kind of backwards before, so I had to turn it around, and my crush washers had an issue. So you can see, it's a little tricky to see, but you can kind of see because they have those little lines in there. So basically you see half of that side, so basically it's not even. So but I got a pack of some crush washers I'm gonna put in there, and I'm gonna kind of clean up those threads a little bit more, and I should be good after that. All right, so right now I'm in the process of bleeding the brake. So so a lot of times I like to do what you call a reverse bleed. They call this like the one-man brake bleed. So I normally do this initially, and I have got several brakes bled that way. But I usually start off doing this initially, and then I'll get a second person to help me. But right now I know the fluid is pretty much at the lines and that the calipers are traveling through the system, and my brake pedal is getting pretty firm. So I'm starting with the passenger front. I started with that one first, and then I came over to the driver's side. The reason I started with the passenger front first is because that line is the longer of the two for the front. So I want to make sure the brake fluid is getting to that side first, because it has a little bit longer to travel, and then I got this side knocked out. All right, so over here on the driver's side, I did have a leak earlier that I got it taken care of. So pretty much what was going on was, you see on this brake line, like one side of it has this rounded notch on it, and if you flip it upside down, it kind of keeps it from going all the way flush in the caliper. So I had to flip that around to get that squared away, and I also had to change out the crush washers. But it was still leaking just a little bit, so I had to take it back apart and clean out some more area on the brake caliper surface. So I got that all cleaned up, and I got it back. So it took me 3 times to get this right. So sometimes they say the third time's a charm, so we'll see. But so far it's holding good and it's not leaking, and I pretty much got the front brakes bled. But I'm gonna get a second person to help me out and get all 4 of them bled. So far all of our new lines and fittings and stuff that we got in there, all this stuff is rock solid. I'm not having any issues or anything right there. So that's one connection there for the left front, and then the one from the passenger front is right there. So everything so far is looking good, and we're starting to get a nice firm pedal inside the car. I'm gonna go ahead and get this stuff wrapped up, and we'll be one step closer to getting this thing road worthy. All right, so I'm about to start getting ready to bleed the brakes, but I'm gonna start in the back. So the rule of thumb is you always want to start with the wheel the furthest away. That's typically the right rear, and then the left rear. Then I go to the right front, and then the left front, and just hit one wheel at a time. So because I got to get the rest of that contaminated brake fluid out of the rear. So in a situation where you got where on this vehicle the wheel cylinders and the brake shoes and everything are good, there is a way you can still improve your stopping power in the rear and improve it, and that's adjusting the brake shoes. So you could turn this little adjuster right here in or out, and you can so basically, you know, you want to adjust them till you got like a slight drag, and then back off 1 or 2 clicks. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and adjust that, so that way the back brakes are gonna stop their best. And then also the other day while I was out here, I sprayed some WD-40 on the bleeder screws and kind of cleaned around them and stuff like that. And I cracked them loose with my wrench there, so I know none of the bleeder screws are frozen. I can tighten them and loosen them a little bit, so I know I'm gonna be able to get all the brakes bled on this thing. All right, folks, so I found me a helper. I got my daughter. She's gonna help me get these brakes bled. So she's gonna be pressing the pedal while I go to each of the wheels and get the air out of the system. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this knocked out.
All right, one more time. Go.
All right, so we got all the brakes bled. So we got a nice firm pedal off in this bad boy. So it's not going to the flow like it was. It feels nice and good, almost like it's brand new from the factory. So we're proud of that. So thank you guys for hanging out for part 2 of getting these brakes squared away. So we got the brakes bled, master cylinders in, brake boosters in, all that good stuff. We ain't got no more leaks, so everything good to go. So appreciate you guys for checking out Cool Fred's Garage and hanging out with me. So this thing is almost getting ready, getting closer and closer to being done. So I'm finna get out here now and wrap up the coolant, try to get the coolant system filled, and I got 4 more spark plugs to put in and a few more things, kind of move on to the next phase so we can get this thing fired up. So thank you guys for checking out Cool Fred's Garage. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. We'll see you next video.